Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's Keshwani, Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for SAT. We have been solving SAT math problems out of this book here, the SAT Official Study Guide 2020. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. Today we'll solve the last four problems in the section that you will find on page number 1014. Please turn to it. Page 1014, and let's see what we can do there. Number 35. The very first one is number 35 on page 1014. We are told that we have a rectangular garden where the length is 5 feet more than the width. We are also told that the area of the rectangle is 104 square feet. The question simply is, what must be the length of this garden? Let's find out. So, length here is 5 feet more than the width. So this is the width. If you add 5 to it, whatever the width is, if you add 5 more feet to it, that's your length. Area we know is length times width, and we are told that that is 104. And since we're looking for the length, we're going to express this thing in terms of L, in terms of length. And the length here, this W here in terms of length would be W is equal to L minus 5. So the area is equal to L times L minus 5, and that has to equal 104. And that's all there is. Now all you have to do is find two factors of 104, such that one is 5 more than the other. Let's do it here. It's an even number, so the smallest prime factor would be 2. Let's divide by 2 here. We get a 5 and a 2. Let's go one more time to 2. We get 26. We get one more time, and we get 13. And that's all. We're done. It's simply 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. 8 times 13 is 104. So length is 13, and the width is 8. And we're looking for the length. The length is 13. Let's go to the next one, shall we? Number 36. Number 36. Number 36 is a geometry question, and in order for us to be able to solve number 36, the only reason why anybody would have problem with number 36, and the only reason why it appears as 36 in the last four as the hard question, is because if you do not understand this one concept that we're going to talk about, if you do not know that concept, then we cannot solve this problem. And the concept is what you see in the blackboard. I made sure that I write it down ahead of time to save some time. This is the concept. It says measure of an angle inscribed in a circle. Let's see what that means. So here's our circle, and an angle inscribed in a circle looks something like this. This angle is said to be inscribed in a circle. It says measure of an angle inscribed in a circle is always half the measure of a central angle. And central angle will be something like this. Central angle simply means that it sits at the center. That's why it's called central angle, like this one. As long as they share the same arc. As long as, one more time, the measure of an angle inscribed in a circle is always half the measure of a central angle that intersects the same arc. So they have to share the same arc. Let's put them in the same circle where they share the same arc. So let's first draw this guy right here, and then let's draw this guy. That's close enough. And therefore, this angle that we have here, they're calling this angle x. Let's call this one y. So this angle that we see y here, this angle y is half of x. And without that knowledge, we cannot solve the problem that is given to us. So here's what's given to us. We are told that this angle is 20 and this angle is 20. The question simply is, how much is x? Let's see what we can do. Let's leave this there. So let's begin, shall we? Let's draw a line like this, a dotted line. This is A, B, C, and this is P. In triangle BPC, let's deal with that first. BPC. In triangle BPC, this angle is X. This is Y, let's call this Z. These two angles, we're going to call them Z. They are both equal to each other because this is the radius of the circle, this is the radius of the circle. Therefore, B to P is same as B to C, and therefore the triangle BPC is an isosceles triangle. So Z plus Z, that's why if this is Z, this is also Z. Z plus X, which means 2Z plus X has to equal 180. Has to equal 180. Now let's look at triangle. Now let's look at triangle ABC. ABC. ABC, that triangle. Okay? This angle is Y. This angle in triangle ABC, we're looking at this entire triangle right here, this here, which is 20 plus a Z. 20 plus a Z. And that angle is also 20 plus Z. So it's 2 times that amount. And that also has to equal 180 because it's a triangle. Which means that this quantity 2Z plus X has to equal this quantity because they're both equal to 180, which means these two quantities are equal to each other. You can erase this part. And now we can start our story. So we have 2Z plus X equals to Y plus 40 plus 2Z. And 2Z's are going to drop out. Everything so far? And Y we know is equal to half X. There we go. Now X, here we have X here, that comes down. X minus half X, F minus half X is going to give us half an X. Half an X is equal to 40. If half an X is equal to 40, then this must be 80. That's all. Because this guy is 40. We just found out that Y is 40. That's it. That's one way of doing it. In the book, if you look at page number, that's how I solved it. When I looked at this problem, this is what went through my mind. In the book, they do it a little bit differently. On page number 1080, if you turn to page 1080 where they give you the answers and the explanation, when I finished doing it, when I looked in the book, I found out in the book they do it a little bit differently. So I'm going to show you the method that is presented in the books. We're going to do it 2 different ways. Let's do it one more time. I'm going to get out of your way before I erase it. Alright, let's do one more time. So this time we don't need this. Oh, that is 20 that is given to us. We don't need this. Okay, let's begin this very quickly. So this is 20. This is 20. We don't any of this. This is P. And here's how it is done in the book. I'm going to erase this P so that it's out of our way. This is what they did it. See, when I did it, I made a triangle this way. What they did is they broke these two up into 2 triangles. Okay, watch what happens. Okay, watch what happens. B to P is the radius of the circle because it's sitting at the center. P to C is also a radius of the circle, and A to P is also a radius of the circle. Which means if this angle is 20, because ABP is an isosceles triangle, because this side is equal to this side. If this angle is 20, this angle must also be 20. Similarly, if this angle is 20, this angle must also be 20. And there we go, we're done. If this angle is 40, this angle would have to be 2 times 40. And that's how it is done in the book. It's quite eloquent actually, quite elegant. Let's do number 37. Number 37. I don't know why I didn't see that method myself, but as I told you, the way I did it the first time is what went through my mind. Number 37. Number 37, we're going to drive. we're going to drive, and our journey is made up of 3 segments. Again, it is very important that you have the book in front of you, otherwise it will not make sense. You must read the whole problem yourself, because I don't put down everything on the blackboard. So we're going to drive, our journey will have 3 segments to it. We're going to drive home to freeway, freeway to the exit, and from our exit to our work. Okay? The first segment of the journey is 0.6 miles. The second segment of the journey, once I get on the freeway, I stay on the freeway for 14.4 miles. And once I get off the freeway, once I take the exit, from exit to my work, it's 1.4 miles. And these are the speeds. The first segment I'm going at 25 miles an hour. Once I get on the freeway, I'm averaging 50 miles an hour. It is miles per hour. And the third segment, once I take the exit to work, I am driving at the average speed of 35 miles per hour. Number 37. Number 37 is a very straightforward question. The question simply is, what is my average speed? What is my average speed? And they tell us how long the whole journey takes. The total time that it takes us is 24 minutes. So let's see what we can do. The speed, we know, is simply the distance divided by the time. The distance is this distance that we're traveling. Let's see what we add up to. 0.4 and 0.6 is just 1. So we're going to get 0.4 here. Carry 1, 5, 6, 7, 17.4 miles. It looks like we're driving 17.4 miles in 24 minutes. In 24 minutes. And this is miles per hour. As you can see, this is in minutes. This is expressed in terms of hours. So we need to multiply this thing. Actually, let's not make it so complicated. Let's set it up as a proportion problem. Let's set it up as a simple proportion problem. I'm going to do it a little bit different. We're going to solve it as a proportion problem. It will be simpler. How about mile over minute? Let's keep it very simple. We know we're going 17 miles, 17.4 miles. We're going 17.4 miles, we are told, in 24 minutes. That makes it life very easy. And we're going to find the average speed. Average speed means how many miles I can travel in 1 hour. 1 hour has 60 minutes. I know I can travel this many miles in 24 minutes. How far can I go in 60 minutes? If I can figure out how far I can go in 60 minutes, that's my speed. That's x. Let's solve for x. X is going to equal to 17.4 times 60. 17.4 times 60, which I'm going to write as 10 times 6 times 10. You will see that in a second. This 60 goes up there, and I'm writing that as 10 times 6. You will see that in a second why I did that. In the bottom we have 24. Why did we do that 10 times 6 instead of writing 60? Because this 10 times 17.4, this 10 times 17.4, we can get rid of this decimal now, and this thing drops out. This thing drops out. Because 17.4 times 10 is 174. It's gone. Let's erase it. It's gone. And that's all. We're almost done. Divide top and bottom by 6 and we get a 4. Divide top and bottom by 4, we'll have the answer. 17 has 4 4s. 4 4s are 16. After we take away 16 from the 17, we have a remainder of 1. 1 goes and joins the 14. 1 goes and joins the 4, becomes a 14. And when we divide 14 by 4, we get 3. 3 4s are 12. 3 4s are 12, we have a remainder of 2. And that 2 must also be divided by 4 because we're dividing the entire number by 4. So you divide that by 4. Now that we divided top by 4, we must divide the bottom by 4, which was the whole idea. It goes away and we end up with 43 and 2 quarters, which is same as 43 and a half. That's our answer. You want to grid in, just grid in 43.5. Let's do the next one. Number 38. Number 38. Number 38 is very tricky. It's the last one. is the last one in the section for a reason. It is tricky. In number 38 it says that if I leave half an hour late, it will take me 33% more time to drive from F to E. It turns out that if I leave half an hour late my home, then by the time I get to the freeway, I'm going to catch the rush hour traffic, and as a result of that, the amount of time it will take me on the freeway is going to be 33% more than what it takes me usually. It does not affect this guy, it does not affect this guy, it only affects the middle segment of the journey. And the question simply is, how many more minutes? How many more minutes am I going to add to my journey? That's the minute, M-I-N. Well, before we can figure out how many more minutes it will add to my journey, because I'm going to end up taking 33% more time, we first have to figure out how much time does it usually take driving on the freeway for 15.4 miles at that speed. That's the first part. So let's do that. Let's do it here. We don't need this anymore. How long does it take us to drive 17.4 miles at 50 miles an hour? Or rather 15.4 miles at 50 miles an hour. So the time is equal to the distance divided by the speed. We know how far we are driving. We're driving 15.4 miles on the freeway. And we know what speed we're going at 50 miles per hour. Now, the problem here is that I shouldn't have done that here because there's not enough room to show everything that I want to show here. Let's do it here on the top. I'm going to erase all of this thing. That work that you see there is not a correct work because there's a problem with the units. The problem with the units is that this is miles and this is speed is miles per hour. As you can see, the hour is going to end up on the top, and this tells us the amount of time it takes to drive on the freeway 15.4 miles at 50 miles per hour, and it will give us time in terms of hours. We want to find out in terms of minutes because the question is how many more minutes it's going to add to my journey. So we need to figure it out in minutes. I could actually rewrite everything, but if you understand this part, that this is expressed in terms of hours. How do we convert hours to minute? Simply multiply this quantity by 60. That's what we're going to do. Okay, the hour goes on the top, and when we multiply by 60, now we have the time being expressed in minutes. This is how long it takes. This is how many minutes it takes usually when I leave my home early. But if we leave our home half an hour late, we're going to catch the rush hour traffic, and it's going to end up taking 33% more time. So here's the tricky part. We could do 33% of that amount, but that's going to be a lot of calculation. It's okay, you can cheat a little bit because what I left out here is that it says how many more minutes will it take, round it to the whole number. Since we are rounding it to the whole number, that's their way of saying you're free to take some liberties. So I'm going to take some liberty. We're going to pretend that 33% is equal to 1/3. And since we're pretending it is not equal to 1/3, 33% is approximately equal to 1/3. 33%, if you want to be strict, 33% is equal to 33 and 1/3%. 1/3 is 33 and 1/3%, not 33%. So we're going to pretend that it takes us 33 and 1/3% more time, which is okay. It's not a big deal. We're going to round the bloody thing to the whole number anyway. Okay, so let's do that. All we have to do now, all that is left to do is to take 1/3 of that amount. I was going to do it here, but I continued there. We're going to carry on. We're almost there. We're almost there. So let's begin our process. I'm going to divide top and bottom by 10. 0 goes away. Let's divide top and bottom by 3. 3 goes away and 6 becomes 2. We end up with 15.4 times 2 over 5. Over 5. Let's multiply top and bottom by. Let's multiply top and bottom by 2. Let's multiply top and bottom by 2. So we have to figure out now is what is 15.4 times 4, and you will see that in a second. You will see in a brief second why I multiplied top and bottom by 2. You will see that in a split second. Let's first figure it out. 15.4, 2 times 2 is 4. We're almost there. 16, carry 1. 5 times 4 is 20. 20 plus 1 is 21. 2, 1, carry 2. 5 times 4 plus 6. It comes out to be 6, 1, 6. But keep in mind it is 15 points, so it is 6. It is 61.6. This quantity, 15.4 times 4 is 61.6 over 5 times 2, which is 10. Now you see why I multiplied the top and bottom by 2, because I didn't want to divide by 5. So dividing any quantity by 10 is very easy. All we have to do is move the decimal. And when we move the decimal, it tells us that it's going to take us, is going to add 6.16 minutes to our journey. Additional 6.16 minutes to our journey, because we left home late. We caught the rush hour traffic. And since we are told to write down to the nearest digit, nearest integer, nearest whole number, minutes, the answer is 6.16. We're simply going to grade in. We're simply going to grade in 6. You understand? One last thing before we close the shop. One last thing. If you turn to the answer key, it's always a good idea to see what they're talking about in the book. It doesn't hurt to see what they're taking. Most of the time it's going to confuse the hell out of you, but once in a while it is useful. If you look at the book on page number 1080, answer key 1080, you will find that the answer that they give us is 6.0984. We came up with 6.16. We came up with 6.16 right there. Why is our answer different from the one that is given in the book? Can you tell me? Here's what I want you to do. I'm going to get out of your way. I'm going to give you unobstructed view of the blackboard. At that point, I want you to pause the video and think and figure out why our answer that we came up with, 6.16, is different from what is given in the book. Once you know the answer as to why the two answers are different, once you know the answer to that question, resume the video and see what happens. I'll give you 2 seconds for you to be able to pause and unpause the video. Why is it taking a slightly more time? Why is it taking a slightly more time than what it's supposed to? We're supposed to take 6.1 more. We're supposed to take 6.1 minutes. Why are we taking 6.16 minutes? The reason is because we added 1/3 percentage more. We assume that 33% is equal to 1/3. That's what that 1/3 is. We figured out the 1/3 of our actual time. 1/3 of our actual time is actually 33.333%, 33 and 1/3%. And therefore, since we are assuming 33 and 1/3, that 1/3 of a percentage is adding the difference between this and that. That's why it's taking a slightly longer. But as I told you from the very beginning, it's not going to do any harm at all. It's not going to do any damage. We simply have to grade in the whole number, and that whole number doesn't change. Whether you come up with this answer or whether you take the time to do the precise calculation, either way, we're simply going to grade in 6. That's the end of the exam. We'll meet again tomorrow. We'll start the new exam. In the meantime, if you wish to get hold of me, if you feel that I can help you prepare for the exam, if you would like to hire my services, I can help you with the math part, I can help you with the grammar portion, the writing portion that is, and I can help you with the vocabulary part for the exam. Those are the three important ingredients in the exam. If you wish to get hold of me, send me an email at keshwaniprep@icloud.com, or you can visit my website. Alright, I'll see you tomorrow, where we'll begin the penultimate exam. Bye now.